Everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to take a look back at the supernatural horror film What Lies Beneath. We go back to the movie's original release date of July the 21st, 2000, where it stars both Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer, and it was directed by Robert Zemeckis. Now the story of What Lies Beneath is set within a quiet town of Vermont, with happily married couple Claire and Norman Spencer. At first, everything seems great as Norman looks to further his career as a teacher, earning a higher salary. But things slowly start to change where Claire starts to notice the actions of their newly moved in neighbours, and when the wife of the neighbour disappears, she suspects that the husband has killed her. Shortly after this, Claire starts to experience intense visions. She sees a woman's body in the lake and reflections of the woman in the water. Initially dismissed as a phase, as we realise that the husband didn't kill his wife, she shortly afterwards seeks therapy, but her visions continue to intensify, to the point where she believes that she's actually been possessed by the spirit of a dead woman. Now as the story progresses, Claire tries to retain some sense of her own sanity, but at the same time she continues to uncover more secrets about the woman's past, and this leads to deadly consequences later on down the line. Now when looking back at What Lies Beneath, it's a very classy, sophisticated horror movie, very much a callback to the classic structure of movie making, so well crafted in setting its own story and pace. But it's a movie, especially if you are of the current generation, that you will have to be patient with. It's not a horror film that's full of jump scares and flashy sequences and intense gore. Yes, you do get some jump scares in the first quarter of the movie especially, but it's never overblown. The plot is steadily built step by step, constructing its own mystery. Now yes, it could be said that the pacing is slow to an extent, but you're still compelled to the overall story. And this was a great example of how much more impact can be made with minimal effort, that you can achieve just as much through atmosphere and mood rather than just pure action and effects. And it approaches its story with a certain poise and intelligence which I think keeps you watching. And events eventually do intensify, culminating in a terrific final 15 to 20 minutes, a kind of climatic encounter if you like. We have a great scene in particular where we see Claire paralysed and trapped in the bath, and it's really great tension and setting here, and again it's a fine example of how suspense can be created with smaller scenes and moments of silence. It really is a type of movie that rarely gets made nowadays, because filmmakers and studios feel that they have to constantly engage the audience of fear of losing their overall attention. Now whilst Harrison Ford was given top billing in the promotion and marketing of the film, make no mistake at all, this is Michelle Pfeiffer's movie. The story is completely driven by her character and performance, and she's absolutely great in it. Absolutely convincing here as we see Claire go through all of the mood swings and changes in her emotions and psyche, and Pfeiffer sells it in every single scene. She's always been one of the most stunningly attractive and iconic actresses from the 1980s and 90s, and she proves it here without doubt, exhibiting a full character range, and when thinking about it, this could be actually one of her finest performances. Now for me personally, the most iconic role of her career still belongs to Catwoman and Selena Kyle within Batman Returns, closely followed by her role as Elvira in Scarface. Also have her debut performance as Stephanie in Grease 2. But her role within this film is right up there. Very stunning and fierce, unpredictable. It's the kind of role that I think actors love because again it gives them a wider range to play around and convey a lot of different feelings and emotions. And she definitely leaves a mark in what is probably one of her most underrated performances. Now to be fair, Harrison Ford is fine here also, in a clear supporting performance, and yes, it is a bit strange to see him in a far less dominating, much more withdrawn role here, but he does adequately enough. Now perhaps he could have been a bit more imposing throughout the earlier stages of the film, but of course that changes as we get to the overall climax, but again I think it's a fine performance from the iconic actor. So when we go on to the movie's overall release in terms of the box office, and it was a fine success, grossing over $291.4 million from a $100 million budget. Now, to be honest, it's a bit strange for a movie so low in scale to cost around $100 million. Now, understandably so, both Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer would have commanded high salaries given the iconic status of their careers, but for a movie with literally no action sequences or elaborate special effects or CGI, minus the last scene or so, it is still strange for this film to cost so much money. But at the end of the day, it did manage to make almost 3 times its budget, again, many thanks to the involvement of both its lead stars. Now, overall, What Lies Beneath got generally mixed to positive reviews. Some criticised the movie's ending, which, to be honest, I'm not really sold on either. It's a dark twist, yes, but I'm not really sure it really follows through. Whilst watching the film, you do appreciate that there will be some sort of big revelation or twist as we come towards the end of the story, but what happens here, it almost feels a bit thrown in and doesn't quite make sense when you think it all the way through. Especially how the film just ends suddenly with that final scene, as I mentioned before. Whilst it's filmed very well, you kind of feel almost a bit of a lack of satisfaction as you come to the overall end of the story. But despite this, I still think What Lies Beneath is a very sophisticated and well crafted horror piece with elements of the supernatural. Again, depending on your preference, you may find it slow and a bit boring, or you may find it a bit more intelligent and sophisticated. And again, a return to that more classic style of movie making where you focus much more on developing the plot and the character rather than generating all of the action and spectacle. So there's my overall thoughts and feelings when looking back on What Lies Beneath. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other movies, television series, or topics within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know within the comments, and I'll see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.